So let's talk about 7 signs the fearful avoidant attachment style is interested in you. I'm making this video because this is the question I get all the time because I know fearful avoidant attachment styles can really blow hot and cold. One day they're really all in, they're warm, they're giving you all these sorts of warm signals, and another day they may be in a totally different space. So in this video, we're going to cover those 7 major signs if you've ever found yourself wondering exactly what is going on inside of the fearful avoidance mind and if they're actually interested in investing in you. So if you stick around to the end, we'll leave the most important one for the end as well. First and foremost, generally, fearful avoidants tend to be a little bit more direct. So they actually may give you some pretty direct signs that they are interested. They may hold eye contact for really long periods of time on a date, or if you're spending a lot of time with them, they may be a little more touchy-feely. They may even make jokes about being interested or sort of try to gauge where you're at. But one of the big giveaways, giveaway number one, is they'll tend to ask you like, where you're at in your dating experience, what you're looking for, what you're interested in. And the more an FA is interested in somebody, the more they'll try to draw out the information so they can understand that person, because in understanding where the other person stands, they feel safe and sometimes safe enough to actually be a little more vulnerable and open up. So that tends to be the first kind of pre-sign there that you'll see. Number two, the hot will win over the cold. So if we imagine that the fearful avoidant is very hot and cold, you'll generally see that there will still be cold moments, even if an FA is interested. A lot of those cold moments, believe it or not, are actually stemming from their own internal wounds and fears and internal dialogue that causes them to need to deactivate. An example could be that they're interested in you, but then they see you being really friendly with somebody else. And they may tell a story to themselves like, okay, maybe this person doesn't think I'm worthy, or maybe they're rejecting me, or maybe I can't trust them. And then they'll kind of deactivate over the sort of meaning and interpretation they give to those sorts of events. But what you'll see as a general rule is those cold moments will be fleeting, especially at the beginning, and they will be far and few between. So you'll generally see in that early dating stage of relationships that hot side or the warm side is much more warm than the cold side. And I think it's really important to note here that, when we talk about the deactivation, when we talk about sometimes the volatility we'll see with a fearful avoidant, a lot of that doesn't happen until the fearful avoidant has actually made an attachment to somebody. So in the dating stage, you'll generally see fearful avoidants thrive when it comes to their relationship dynamics. They'll do really, really well at dating, and they can kind of be on their best behavior because they, just like dismissive avoidants, are in this feelings minus fears place. So their feelings can be strong, but their fears are not really online until they've really formed a bond, really formed an attachment with somebody. And it's from that, once that attachment is really built in and has formed, that's where a lot of their fears will really kind of come online. And you'll see that, a fearful avoidant, that's not really there for the dating stage. But in the honeymoon stage, that attachment starts to be built. More of the fears can come up. In the power struggle stage, they're usually right in the sort of climatic part of all of those fears. And then if they make it beyond that stage in the stability, commitment, and bliss stages of relationship dynamics, it tends to be a little bit smoother for fearful avoidance. By the way, if you actually want to do a deeper dive into the fearful avoidant in the different stages of relationships, we actually have a course, before I go into the next 3 points here, that you can check out for 14 days for free using the link down below. We're doing a 14-day free trial starting right now. And it will give you access to the whole platform of the school, but specifically, you'll get access to this course. It's all about how the fearful avoidant will show up in all the 6 stages of relationships. So you can understand what their wounds are, their pain points, how to address them, how to work through them. If you are a fearful avoidant yourself, it talks a lot about from that perspective. So it gives you that kind of roadmap to relationship success. And you can get through it in about an hour and a half or so. So it gives you that full roadmap to relationship success in about an hour and a half of time. So check it out, or just check out the whole platform with the 14-day free trial down below. The next one, we will see number 4 here. Fearful avoidants will make an effort. When they're really interested, they'll set up little plans with you. They'll write little notes. They'll send longer text messages. even if they're just a friend, if they're doing a lot of these things, initiating plans, writing little notes, doing really thoughtful things, more often than not, there's some sort of romantic undertone there, because they tend to be very, very expressive in that way, especially when they're romantically interested. Our next one is that they will try to spend quality time with you. Fearful avoidants have a huge love language generally around quality time. And quality time doesn't always have to be in person time, it can be time, over FaceTime, time over Zoom, time, back and forth through text, but they'll make sure that there is this communication back and forth that's consistent, that's really opening up, that's building that relationship, because fearful avoidants ultimately want to feel like the relationship is growing and building. And in doing that, you'll see a lot of quality time becomes a strategy for exactly how to do that. Number 6, fearful avoidants will be physically touchy. Why is this? Fearful avoidants generally have a pretty big love language around physical touch. There can be an exception of fearful avoidants who lean very dismissive, have a really strong secondary dismissive attachment style. But as a general rule, fearful avoidants are very touchy feely. And if you want to take the free attachment style test down below too and get your report on your percentages of attachment, you can check that out as well. But that tends to be a big love language for fearful avoidance as a whole. And last but not least, number 7, they will discuss the future. Fearful avoidants tend to want to get the validation from understanding like what you want from your future, want the transparency around you and how you feel about things, but they'll even talk about themselves in your future. Even if it's as small as like, oh yeah, next month we should do this together. So even if it's in really early stages, they'll talk about the future because it's a way of kind of seeing where somebody's at, but also expressing vulnerably that they're interested in continuously moving ahead with you. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Hopefully this really breaks it down for you and is supportive. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, let me know any other questions you have down below as well. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have other questions about fearful avoidance as a whole, leave them down below. If you are a fearful avoidant and have questions, leave it down below. I'm constantly going through and trying to bring out video ideas from some of the comments. So thank you for sharing them in advance. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.